Hello and welcome to a special episode of Mothership Gear, because today we are joined by Framus Hollywood.
Framus Hollywood Star Bass.
Oh, there's more. Framus Hollywood Star Bass. They're like, guys, I have the name for this bass. It's going to be Framus Hollywood Star Bass.
Yeah. Bass of the stars.
Big shoes to fill.
For such a small bass.
Such a small bass. But, you know, I got to say, it really does live up to the name. It's doing all the things. It's a short scale Japanese bass.
No, Framus is a very old German company, kind of like Hofner. I think they were going head to head back in the 60s.
No way.
Yeah.
And did they kind of trail off at some point? Or are they still making basses?
No, I think someone purchased Framus because they have really modern like metal guitar amps you can buy now, like a Framus amp. And then they reissued the Framus Hollywood guitars maybe like 10 years ago. Those are pretty cool, but I don't know if it's two separate brands or they just found their niche. They're like, we don't need any more like Beatles-esque basses. We need metal amps now.
Right. Well, I'm glad they made the Framus Hollywood Star Bass.
Me too.
They're like, we need to sell this thing to Americans and British people. So Framus for us, Star Bass for David Bowie fans, and Hollywood for Americans.
Perfect.
We've got the market cornered with this name.
You would think there'd be more of these around.
Right.
But I don't think they were that popular.
I mean, it's really cool. And it also, if you're a fan of like the Tame Impala thing or even the JJM bass, which we have on the channel, this is kind of like that, where you're saying because it's short scale, it has more low end. Because I'm shocked at how round and plucky it is. Yeah, that's a bass that I feel like friends of the channel, Zach Esposito or Brandon Burr, would probably try to buy off of you if they heard it. Because it's so... I think of the flat wound sound with the short scale bass as like automatic tape. Like it sounds like there's a Studer or an Ampex that it's running through and giving it that special quality, that Beatlesy, Kinksy kind of sound that we're all after.
It's so warm and thick, but like really present.
Right.
You think of like Paul McCartney's tone. There's never any like bright treble, but you can hear every note and it sounds so full. Yeah.
And it has a natural compression that I think makes it fun to record because you don't have to do much to it.
Plug and play.
Right. So tell us about the knob. I know it's not engaged, but it was just kind of a cool knob to have.
I got this on eBay. You know, I'm just searching, probably typing in small bass, weird bass. And this came up and it had a broken headstock that I repaired. So I got it for cheap and the electronics didn't work. This is a big old metal plate. So it's really shielded. Back in the day, they didn't have that great of electronics. And so a big metal pick guard helped with interference and shielding. Originally, it was a volume, this like weird microphone cable, not a 1/4 inch. Back then they were using a different cable. And so I just modified it to this. Much easier than me trying to search the web for that specific cable. And this was a stepped potentiometer where it's bass minus, treble plus, treble plus, bass minus, treble minus. Who knows what that means, but you could click it to the 4 different settings to get 4 different tones. And me being 18 at the time or something, I just replaced it with a regular tone pot because I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, it's funny, like this bass has such a personality. He shows up to the jazz bass and the P bass and the Hofner and he's like, I'm Framus Star Bass born Hollywood, and I don't have what you guys have. Exactly. I have the ability to do bass plus, treble minus, all of these extra features that I guess the rest of the guitar world didn't know they needed until Framus Star Bass Hollywood came on the scene. Exactly. Reinventing the way we think about EQ and tone.
Yep.
Loren was like, I can't do all that right now.
I could do on or off, and that's as much electricity soldering knowledge I have.
One day we got to bring Framus back to his original glory and do an episode on that.
Yeah.
With your knowledge now.
I think now I could do it. I just have to pull it apart and, spend a weekend with it. I don't know how much tonal differences you can get with one big neck pickup. It's like that other episode you had of the Epiphone SG bass.
Yeah, the Mudbucker.
The Mudbucker. You kind of just get...
Right. It's like, is that also just like a fancy Mudbucker in a way?
That's tone all the way up. You turn tone all the way down. It sounds exactly the same.
Man, this bass, I feel like he's a little bit of a con artist.
Yeah.
It's like... I don't know. I just feel like at the party, everyone's going to roll their eyes when they meet Framus because
this big name, Hollywood Star Bass, one trick tiny pony.
The gall to sell a tone switch that makes it sound really complicated. I guess we'll have to find out. Maybe this is like the Les Paul recording and it's like really nuanced and very special. I mean, we were looking it up. These go for about like $1,000.
Yeah. Major prices. And that's like, kind of the guitar buying world, that seems a big risk. If you've never played one of these, this is the tiniest, thinnest neck I've ever played on a bass, smaller than a guitar neck, like thinner and smaller scale length. So it's a huge risk if you're spending $1,000 on this bass, like it could be a high payoff or, you hate it.
Big name, small neck, one Mudbucker possibly. Depending on how you want to define it. But regardless, I do think this is for the 60s thing. This does the 60s thing way better than my Mudbucker. So I think we're teasing Framus a little bit, but we love Framus because even the tuning pegs are really cool. I was saying they remind me of my Harmony acoustic tuning pegs. It's like they're very delicate and like they have that cool look to them that I love, which is like, is that just plastic or is that like ivory or what is that?
Yeah, just I think Ivoroid.
Ivoroid
is like fake ivory plastic.
Ooh, that's a new texture I like. Ivoroid.
Shiny and swirly in there. Really nice.
Yeah, and it's like the top of it, if you were to look at just the top, you wouldn't think that you have a bright red body. It looks like an old blues guitar from the top, and then from the back it looks like a 60s like Japanese kind of thing. And that's interesting with the neck. That's the original neck, right?
It was black, and since I was not an accomplished painter, I just sanded it down to the natural wood and did like a satin finish on it, which feels really nice.
We got to get a second Framus and maybe do all natural. I feel like it would look like Zach's Guild bass. Like that 70s kind of brown tone. What kind of wood is that?
This looks like mahogany, but I have no clue what the wood underneath the red is.
Just like plywood? It might look like the guitar that's behind me, which is a Harmony. I was telling you, the guitar behind me looks exactly like the same type of wood as that. So could look cool. But we love this bass. I think this is a steal. 1,000 is a little pricey, but I would love to know why they decided 1,000 for the market.
I think the rarity.
They only made a few, maybe.
Until Google Lens, trying to Google like a Framus Star Bass, there's a long scale one that you can find pretty easily, but finding the really short one, I could never find it until when Hans was over looking at it. I took a picture on Google Lens and brought up like 3 or 4, and that's how we found the price. Right.
Also, that reminds me of your Fender Bullet bass, which is more commonly long. But the shorter one is more expensive.
Yeah, it's the B30. The short scale one is harder to find and more expensive. People really value the short scale basses. I think they have a great recording and playing tone. And it makes it special. Well, if they want to purchase gear from you, get some drum hardware, maybe set up a guitar, where do they contact you? Anywhere on the internet, Loren's Emporium. The best way is Instagram, Loren's_Emporium.
If you guys like Mothership gear, we've done a ton of basses with Loren, lots of cool stuff. So please subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, talk to you later. Bye.